The elevator is crowded and nobody looks up. A shoe taps. A bag strap creaks. The fluorescent light buzzes with a thin, tired sound. Your phone vibrates in your pocket, and your body reacts before your mind decides anything. Shoulders lift, breath tightens, attention snaps toward the next demand. Nothing is actually happening. You're just standing still. Yet you feel braced. This is what the collective break looks like: burnout, comparison, overstimulation, loneliness, and performance pressure blending into a daily atmosphere that makes you anxious, numb, irritable, and strangely absent from your own life. There isn't one villain. There's a mechanism: attention treated like currency, speed treated like virtue, and human limits treated like inconveniences, until millions of people start feeling dismantled inside while calling it a normal week. It starts so quietly you can miss it. You're not collapsing on the floor. You're still replying. Still showing up. Still doing the thing. But your inner bandwidth keeps shrinking. Small frustrations land like punches. A minor delay feels personal. Someone asks you a simple question and you answer too sharply, then you hate yourself for it, then you go numb because feeling guilty takes energy you don't have. You don't feel like a different person. You feel like a thinner version of yourself. And the world keeps insisting you should be able to handle it. Handle the pace. Handle the noise. Handle the constant exposure to everyone else's lives. Handle the endless stream of crises and opinions and updates. Handle work that expands to fill every pocket of quiet. Handle the subtle demand to be reachable and pleasant and competent at all times. So you try. You begin the day already scattered: messages, headlines, reminders, other people's wins, other people's collapses. Even if you don't scroll for long, your mind has already been pulled into 100 rooms. Your attention is split into tabs before you've even eaten. That splitting becomes a posture, like carrying your shoulders slightly raised all day without noticing. Then work arrives, and it's rarely just work. It's work plus interruption. Work plus monitoring. Work plus the sense that your time is being measured, your responsiveness is being tracked, your worth is being inferred from how fast you react. The tasks themselves may be manageable. The constant switching is what drains you. You keep moving from one thing to the next, and your mind never settles long enough to feel whole. By midday you're functional, but you're frayed. That's where the diffuse anxiety lives, not a single fear you can name, but a background vibration. The feeling that something is wrong even when nothing is happening. You carry it into the grocery store. Into the shower. Into the 5 minutes between meetings. You think you should relax, but your body doesn't trust relaxation anymore. It's been trained to treat stillness as vulnerability. Then comparison cuts in, and it doesn't have to be dramatic to be damaging. It can be one photo, one story, one update, one person who looks like they've figured out the exact formula you missed. You know it's curated. Your chest still tightens. Your mind still measures. You feel behind in a race you never agreed to run. You feel small. And when you feel small, you compensate. You speed up. You do more. You present better. You keep the mask clean. You try to become fine at a higher level. That's where performance pressure becomes a trap. You keep trying to prove you're okay in a world that keeps raising the standard for what okay looks like. This is how the break spreads without anyone noticing it spreading. People become sharper, not because they're evil, but because they're overloaded. Empathy takes attention. Attention is being pulled in every direction. So empathy gets rationed. Patience thins. Curiosity fades. Everyone starts living closer to the surface. You see it in public spaces, the tense faces in line, the blank stares on the train, the quick flare-ups over tiny inconveniences. You see it in relationships, conversations that don't land, messages that replace intimacy, people who feel both reachable and unreachable at the same time. You see it in yourself, a sudden urge to be alone that isn't about solitude, but about relief from being constantly available. And there's a kind of loneliness that grows inside constant connectivity. Not being alone, but feeling unheld. Feeling like your presence is always partial. Like you're with people while your mind is elsewhere, and alone while the world is still talking at you. At some point, your system tries to protect you. It narrows your emotional range. It dulls the edges. It makes apathy feel like a blanket. It makes irritation the emotion that still has enough energy to surface. It makes you crave distraction, not because you love it, but because distraction is the fastest anesthetic. This is adaptation, not a moral failure. The mechanism works because it's made of microcycles. Small loops that repeat until they become your personality. A notification hits and you get a jolt. You check. The jolt fades. You check again. You feel briefly anchored by a message, a task, a reaction, a tiny burst of novelty, then it drops, and you reach again. Work gives you a brief sense of purpose, then the purpose collapses into more demand. Planning gives you a brief sense of control, then the day interrupts and you feel exposed again. Over and over. Rise, drop, reach. Rise, drop, reach. That rhythm trains restlessness. Your mind stops trusting quiet. Quiet starts to feel like emptiness. Emptiness starts to feel like danger. So you fill it, screens, tasks, noise, until you can't hear your own inner life anymore. And if you can't hear yourself, meaning thins out. You can get through the day and still feel like it didn't belong to you. You can be busy and still feel pointless. You can be successful and still feel hollow, because the life inside the schedule has been sanded down by constant contact with urgency. Here is the hardest part to admit: the break doesn't always feel painful. Sometimes it feels blank. You stop expecting joy to stick. You stop expecting rest to restore you. You stop expecting connection to feel safe. You keep going anyway. You say you're fine. You smile. You keep moving. And because you're still moving, you assume you're okay. If this has a name in your week, leave it in the comments, just the word for what you feel most: irritable, numb, wired, tired, empty. Sometimes naming it is the first moment it stops feeling like you're the only one. The world doesn't need one mastermind to break people. It just needs incentives. A marketplace that profits from keeping your attention hooked. A culture that treats speed as competence. A social atmosphere that turns selfhood into display. An information stream that keeps your body in alert. None of it has to hate you. It only has to keep going. So what does recovery look like when the wound is collective? Not a speech. Not a perfect routine. Not turning your healing into another performance. A smaller, quieter move, reclaiming 1 inch of attention at a time. That can begin in a public place, because the break happens there too. Back in the elevator. Back in the line. Back on the platform. Everyone's eyes down. Everyone's mind elsewhere. Your phone vibrates again, another hook, another tug, another invitation to leave the moment. You don't open it. You let the vibration fade without obeying it. You notice the sound in the space, the elevator's low hum, the soft exhale of someone behind you, the tiny squeak of rubber soles shifting. You feel your feet inside your shoes. You feel the weight of your hands. Your mind tries to sprint ahead, to scan, to prepare. You don't fight it. You just don't follow it. A few seconds pass. You are still in the same world. The same demands will exist when the doors open. The same speed will be waiting outside. But something changes in you. You are no longer entirely owned by the rhythm that grinds you down. The doors slide open. People step out quickly, already reaching for their next thing. You step out too, but you carry a different kind of quiet, one that isn't resignation, but a refusal to be pulled apart every minute. Because the opposite of this collective break isn't a perfect life. It's a mind you can return to. And returning to your mind, in an era designed to scatter it, is a quiet act against the pace that broke us all.